Just Alright, hopefully this works. There we go. Hello, anybody out there? May or may not be able to hear me. Welcome to Dave tries to stream and update the wiki at the same time. Hopefully it works. I'm assuming that it may be working. Alright. Just gonna make this window slightly smaller. You can actually see what I'm doing. There we go. So we're gonna do a bit of updating of the wiki. I normally do this by myself, so this will be a relatively new experience for me. First, we'll update the characters I already made. Why is that? That's not right. That logo's not right, straight off the bat. You can hear me at the chat is late. The chat will always be a bit laggy to show up on screen if it helps. It's just the nature of time delay. It's like 5-10 seconds before it shows up. You can hear me and see my screen, but the chat is laggy. Well, I mean, there's not a lot happening in chat right now. There's only literally me and you, so there's only 2 people watching anyway. I'll post in the Discord. Alright, so we'll update her first. Yeah, the point is that you'll be able to see the screen and we can talk about stuff and all that. But what I'm going to do is we're going to add her model because I did some editing before the stream started and I edited down models so I can easily upload them. So we got Alanis. Alana? I think it's Alana Stannis. Alright, now she's got art. How we do it? Let's go gallery. Close it up. And what this should do is on the right hand side, we now should have a model and art section. Oop, I get it up. Did I do it wrong? Ah, spelled gallery wrong. Got an R. Might just be the browser. YouTube is terrible on Firefox with my phone. I mean, I'm using Firefox right now. Always the question in those in the fantasy world. Speak English, therefore pronounce English or not. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, see, now there's a art and model section. And hopefully we can get some better art of Alanis. Now, we do know she is the great niece of another character. Which, I can't remember the spelling of her name, but it should be on my complete list. So if we go to Basilians, where's it G? This dude. Is the great niece of him. So basically we want to make sure that both sides reflect it. So go to edit. And it should be family. Oh, sorry. My headset's got this random thing of randomly powering off. There you go. Sorry, just probably blew some people's ears off. Alright, so we'll add this dude and great uncle, I think it would be. Great uncle. And then what we want to do is the reverse. I need like a stream deck that I can just push a button. Alright. I went to the wrong view. Alright, actually what we should do here is add in war logo. And the Basilian logo as well. Where's family? Oh, he's already got family. Oh yeah, because his mount's named. I always put their mount as family. Yeah. Niece. How do you spell niece? There you go. So basically, Alanis is the child of his niece. From my understanding, that's how that family tree would work. Oop, I forgot to add that. You can't see what I'm doing. Maybe I'll scoot this. Oh no. Yeah. Scoot something here. I'll scoot this down slightly. You can see the web address I use here. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think Mark is Mark Zizinski, because I have to use people's names now, is starting a pronunciation project for MUP, so we can get pronunciation because of somebody making fun of me. Not because of it, but why did you not? Did I just not do it that way? Wait now. A little bit of a trial and error. God damn it, why is it not working? Ah, I see. It's because I did the long form. Because I buggered it up when I made this template. There we go. So there's the line that's done. It's got a nice, beautiful model in there now. And got the family tree. And we don't really know much more other than that. Oh no, affection should be there, should it? Affiliation. Ornofoco.com, you can list the pronunciation of existing word name in different languages. I'll see if I can. I'll put this name in and see what happens. No, oh, no. Oh, it has to be existing. All right. All right. Well, that's Alana's done. Go back to champion. Next one, we'll do the bloody cardinal. Ooh. Now, what we should also do is we should be adding in the gallery section here. There we go. The model art. And I don't really like the white around it. So I always switch it to mode no lines. There you go. And it's a bloody cardinal added. I mean, obviously we'll add in like history and stuff once we actually know it. But at the moment it's a little bit vague. Alright. Because we're gonna have to add in a few new profiles as well. We've got, so I've only got 4 characters here, but I'm gonna add in more, and plus there's a few lieutenants that we have to add as well that were revealed. And the screenshots of the shop, and we'll go through them soon. Actually, I need to go to the bathroom real quick. I know I've just started, but I've been sitting at this computer for about 2 hours trying to get this set up. So I'm just going to quickly go to the bathroom, and I'll be back in a sec. So I don't know how long I'm gonna probably stream for. It's pretty much just until I'm bored. But it seems to be working at the moment. Not me being bored. I don't think you can really see the chat on screen though. There's a few improvements I need. Like that's way too small. Should be making that a little bit bigger. But then it covers like most of the screen, and that's the problem. I need to get it transparent. I might just remove it. Yeah, I might just get rid of it. You can't really read it. Yeah, I think the chat. There's no point to putting the chat on the screen because you can't read it. Yeah, so we'll get rid of that, but probably in the future if I do this again. I'll get rid of that. Get rid of it. There you go. We'll do it again in the future. Jazz it up a bit. Yeah, I'll probably just park that for now. I'll probably just do it the same way I normally do my regular streams. I just didn't have time to get it all coded up and set up. But yeah, this is good enough for now. It's probably just going to be me and you. I deliberately picked a time where I know a lot of people will be on. Just to get this right. Alright. Get another image on here. Actually, no, we'll do it a different way. So Jordan Tellison is actually Northern Alliance. Shall we change that? Dave editing the wiki in the middle of the night answer question. To be fair, it's only like it's only midday for me, so this is the normal time I do it anyway. Midday on a Sunday. Yeah, it's not the most obscure. I mean, people because it's on YouTube. Technically, people could watch it in hindsight, but I don't think many people would. It's just really undoing. It's basically a case of undoing this anyway. Adding this element just kind of makes things a little bit more interesting. I should do it. And it's a good place that we can just hang out for a bit and just talk about. There you go. It looks pretty now. Eventually, I'm going to put a link to actually buy the character. Random chatting isn't about what you actually do on screen, but what stories you can tell interaction. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I mean, the thing is, I'm doing this anyway, and the joys of like anything I do here, anyone that watches this in hindsight can go and check out what I did on the wiki. So it's Void Heart's going to be a little bit different, isn't she? Right. So this is why you have a gallery. I'm actually need to tidy up her profile altogether. She's in Kings of War, right? I have a secret collection. I don't know if I showed you this, Cody. Curtis. I have to actually hide the search bar on this one because you're not allowed to see what I'm about to do. There's a secret page I built that has all the rule books and all the PDFs for all the books. And so this is what I do if I ever need a reference. It's a secret website that I set up just for me. That's how obsessed I am with this. And I have to, yeah, it's got everything on there. So when people send me stuff that like a PDF, they've scanned in a PDF that's not available as a PDF, I put it on here. And it's helped me a lot because when I'm in the hospital or doing a checkup, and I'm just like casually doing the wiki, it just makes my life a lot easier than like storing it as a PDF on my laptop or like even on my phone. I can do it as well. It should be under. I don't know. She should be under. Oh no, I don't think she ever was under else. Nah, Silver Heart was never there. But if I go back, I can do the. You're not sure if the it's hidden. It should be hidden. You can't see it. You can't see the web address, right? Yeah, it is. It is. And it's weird that the champions. I looked in the Mantic chat, Mantic Discord, and they said that the champions book is not going to be available in PDF, which is quite interesting. I got to pick when you typed in. Damn it! Oh, I just had to delete the stream then. Don't worry, I'll be able to track it, so don't use it. If people track it, I'll just change the web address. I don't think she's there though. Silverheart's not there, but she should be under the Twilight Kin list, right? Where is she? Is Twilight Kin not there? Oh yeah, because it was probably 2000. It's probably 2024. It'll probably be on. Champions not being on digital or companion is a bit low. Yeah, I think they missed a trick there. The one thing I'm doing worrying is a lot when I have really like in the past year I've got really amongst the I understand why they do it, but a friend of but not a friend of it. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I get why they do it, but one of the main draws that I've been told about Kings of War is just the fact that they do things a bit differently. But the problem is the direction that they're going in with the theory of like in fourth edition them reducing factions and not digitizing their PDFs and also the vault being very restrictive and forcing people to get stuff that they don't want to get. It's starting to lose Mantic is losing the advantages. The only thing they've got a slight head on is cost, and it's that margin has become very very slim of how much of an advantage. Yes, people argue, well, they are still the cheapest, but it's like saying, you know, two cars. You know, if you're buying two cars, just because one is slightly cheaper than the other doesn't make it better, but it also doesn't make the car still expensive to buy. I just realized that the looks like a B. We don't want to go on. Yeah, 20. All I know, I'm costed out of the Halo game now, or with the 2025 collector ones. The shipping alone is basically a third of the price. But there it is, Lethal Bleakheart. So she is there. Take a snippet. Just saving that so I can upload it. And they're still the best value gaming out there. Like, the problem is that I believe in the IP. I don't believe in some of the decisions and the directions that they're going in, which still gives me hope because that kind of stuff can change. You can pivot and change with those kind of decisions, but it seems it's starting to feel like we are like money pinatas that people are just whacking at the moment. Like I have to make, I definitely can't afford champions. Champions has definitely outpriced me significantly, and plus it's not even any armies I collect because I go for halflings, or orcs, or Riftforge orcs, and just because of the base set really. But also I wanted to start collecting Abyss, the Forces of the Abyss. But the problem is you can't buy for champions. You can't just buy the Abyss. You have to buy the whole two-player set, and I just can't afford that. It's a little bit too much for me. Like all the rules being free on the companion, but the list saving or direct linking being paid would be better than play. I do think they need to make the digital product a little bit more beefier because it's there's so much more they can do. They've got a lot of material that they don't sell online because it's out of date. But that would be perfect material to put on the companion, like some of the older PDFs, like it's their first edition stuff. Because that stuff, like once I got a PDF copy of that older stuff, they're fascinating reads, and it really shows a different time, and also shows what they intended to do. And I would have loved Mantic back then if I had found them. If I found them during first edition, they're exactly what I wanted. And I just didn't know about them. Still have enough armies for my Warhammer Pass. I don't even. I mean, I have because I always wanted a halfling army when I was in Warhammer when I was collecting, and then I ended up going with dwarfs, and I've still got my flame. Then my dad helped me paint this, and I've kept it. Yeah, I love the flames that he did there. They look really good. I will always treasure this. This is one me and my dad painted together. So I mean, I've got Warhammer quest up there. Um, I've got Space Crusade, old game. Oh, also I got this. I found this the other day. Warhammer Armies Dwarfs, like the old school book. Still got the smell. Great. And I love this kind of stuff. I got really invested in the lore and reading about it, and I think that's why I care so much about it now. I hate it that when played against a friend when we could. I think I sucked at it when I was a youngin, and so because I sucked at it so much, it put me off actually playing it. So that's why I've become more of a collector than a collector rather than a player. But I guess it's also quite difficult for me over here, just because I don't really know the scene that does exist and is down south. So it's in Christchurch, which is a little bit away. And I don't really want to spend all this money going down there just to get my ass kicked for a game I've never played. So maybe Champions if I can never justify spending the money into it, but at the moment it's a little bit. Sorry, I'm still looking for this image that I just saved. I accidentally saved it in the Halo Wiki folder on my computer. There you go. The old books are definitely better. They peaked with 6th edition after they went down. Yeah, I do agree with that. I found. Where did I find it? This is my folder of booklets. This is where I got all my Dunsaga stuff. Dunsaga in there. And so I keep everything in here that I want to track. And I found this little gem. At a second-hand shop. And I found that, I think a week or two ago. It was 15 bucks. But I get this, and I get very much vibes of the Kings of War stuff. Because it's very, very, very much similar to that, except for, funny enough, Kings of War, I would say, has more lore in their booklets than these. Which was surprising, because I would love more. And their booklets are those definitely hidden gems that they really should give people access to. I really like them. My big hobby plan is to rework the Empire army into a Rhoydener army, lore accurate, 20 novels. Yeah, I think that'd be really cool. I think one thing that, and I think we've got on here, League of Rhoydener doesn't cover more, and I don't know if I've uploaded. I should be uploading. Is the different sigils of all the 5 states. So I think I got Edinburgh. Have I uploaded that? No, I haven't. Maybe I've got it under character list. I recall doing it. There you go. So these are the 5 sigils. And so there is a unit also in Rhoydener, and we'll go back to Rhoydener. I think it's for like Dogs of War or something like that. What's it? Oh yeah, here. Yeah, I think they're Dogs of War, but they get split. But there's Shields of Hüttenberg, Razors of Berlin, Cheech, and Beasts of Targ Spire. So you can really just tie these sigils. And notice I tried to fix up the sigils because they were really small. So I tried to blow them up and try to correct them. But you can, yeah, you really tie the sigils in with the units there, and you can really say this you could say this unit's from Eorwulf, so it's that kind of color because that's the capital. Like Eorwulf is like the capital state, and so you can really tie it in. And like the Duto Hettenberg that you can actually have as a named hero, you can definitely tie in that kind of color scheme with it, which I think is really, really cool. And that's why I think that League of Rhoydener could be one of the more colorful human armies if someone really just sat down and done it. And you get certain things like, I think it's Targ Spire. They basically capture mammoths and are very like mammoth central. I think, yeah, it's either Targ Spire or Taurus. That they're mammoth heavy. And it's part of the lore, and it's actually in Broken Alliance that they bring in the mammoths and stuff. So mammoths are an option for the League of Rhoydener, but specifically they're actually only from those regions. Sorry. So there's so much you could do with it, and I'm very surprised this isn't. I'm surprised that Mantic hasn't just gone, oi, how about we just hire somebody to paint a Rhoydener army using existing human units and show what this army could look like, and it'll look amazing. I mean, obviously they don't have a mammoth unit, which they should, but again, it's one of those factions people think are going to be colored in 4th edition, which I think will be a crime. I think culling any of the factions will be a crime. Alright, so we should, hopefully. Alright, we'll quickly show the address again. I'll load her new unit now. Alright, this is what she looks like now. So she's gone through 3 name changes. She's been Ethereal, Silverheart, Bleakheart, and now she is Voidheart. So, which will update. I can see Themeless gone because the issue of sharing units caused with the game. Like, honestly, it's one of the main draws for me personally was the fact you could that Mantic was open to introducing factions, so you could just build the faction that you wanted, and it was a huge draw, and it made them different from, in my opinion, made them different from fantasy battles and old world. Old world and fantasy battles were very restricted and refused to introduce these factions. But I think Kings of War had, like, every faction, in my eyes, every faction that's introduced can stand on its own. I think Themeless were great, and I'm gonna be very disappointed when that comes up. What I worry, and this is a real concern, is they're not doing enough work now to make it okay. I think they're just going to drop the bomb and hope it's not that bad and just assume anyone complaining is just passionate fans like myself. But what they should be doing is kind of preparing people for it, to say, hey, have an honest community conversation about it. Just go, hey, look, we're planning on getting rid of some factions. This is for X, Y, Z reasons. And this is why we're doing it. And then that will help soften the blow and it'll be just an easier pill for everyone to swallow. But I don't think they're going to do it. I mean, all they need to do is somebody just to sit, make a video, even if it's Andy, make a video and just explain it. Just go, hey, this is what's going to happen. Even if it's with Lunzio, the one that's supposedly doing 4th edition. And just sit down and say, hey, this is why we're doing it. This is, they know it's not for everyone's liking, but it's something that we have to do. Alright, so we're going to have to transfer a lot of images across from the old wiki here. So we're going to go to the old wiki. But look at all the ads, right? Like, go. Secrecy is a big problem at the moment in general. I mean, yeah, that's always going to be an issue, especially seen with Champions when nobody knew it almost killed the hype. Yeah, I completely agree. Everyone was excited to hear about this Champions, and I've been told. I'm not going to reveal anything here, but I've been told a few things about Champions for the future. But it also, it also helps. This helps with 4th edition because all the factions they're introducing now, you can pretty much guarantee they're going to be in 4th edition. Because there's no point in introducing a faction that's not going to exist anymore. I mean, it could still exist in Champions, but just won't exist in the larger game because their hope is that it's going to be a bit of a bridge to Kings of War. So, I mean, in a way, it is helping the hype for 4th edition by doing this. In my opinion. I don't know whether everyone agrees with that, but... Just making sure I got they upload the right one to the right one. I do things very fast, so if there's anything anyone ever wants me to elaborate on here, which I don't think there would be, but just let me know. Because I just click through stuff really fast. We'll go to the Vanguard card. I think that's the main issue with I would say with 4th edition. I think 4th edition, it's hard to tell. Like, I'm excited from it from a lore buff kind of point of view, and in kind of two ways. Like, I know the lore committee is a lot more involved with writing this lore, and they've got a lot more of the writers involved, and they're putting a lot more thought into how the lore translates to the table. So that's a tick there. But to cull so many as well for gameplay reasons just hurts a little bit. But with every edition, so since 2nd edition, so in 2nd edition and 3rd edition, they've always come out with Uncharted Empires shortly after. So any faction that's not in the initial release of 4th edition, I'm not ruling out completely yet until they come up with an Uncharted, which I think they should give it a year and then reintroduce any faction people are heavily wanting back in the game. And I think that's okay. For me personally. Everyone's different, but... The interesting option to move faction from Kings to Champions, but not big enough to pull faction, but a company is fine. Split them for Champions, like Reforge or regular Orcs, one faction for Kings, but 2 boxes for Champions. Yeah, they could do that. I can see that working. I think one thing is everyone's assuming that the Orcs will be, merged, which I think is a terrible idea. I think right now, in terms of the lore and where they're currently situated, having Orcs and Riffle Orcs being separate entities, evolving to their separate culture, they're prime for it. I can see Orcs definitely becoming less of the savage things that we know and slowly finding their own identity and a very unique identity that's unlike Warhammer and unlike typical Orcs, but they can still use Riftforged Orcs as being those servants of evil and so forth. So, but it sounds like they're going to merge them together. I'm going to be 100% honest. I don't know for certain. It's just everything is kind of hinting towards that, which I'd be a bit disappointed because the new book, Claws on the Plain, goes into more of the orc culture, and honestly, they do a good job. And I see a lot of kind of not hints, but a lot of similarities to Warcraft orcs in that lore. Mantic cannot do models, new models. Yeah, they don't have to. They don't have to do models for both. They've already introduced Riftforged specific models just for Riftforged orcs. I think everyone's saying is like if it's a faction, Mantic need to release models for them. I think they do eventually need to release models for them, but I think what they tend to do at the moment, and I don't know whether this is going to be an ongoing thing, they tend to go, all right, if we're going to release models, we have to do a complete refresh and release of those models. But they don't have to do that. They could just simplify it down and go, all right, we're going to still do those 2 or 3 army refreshes every year. But throughout the year, we're going to scatter it with with smaller releases of a troop or just a hero model of a faction that doesn't have it. Maybe a League of Royden. They introduced they could introduce a Duke of Hittenberg model, just the model. What else could they do? Like Kings of Men as well. They can introduce the captain as a model. Also, also another one I'm trying to think of? Maybe the Order of the Green Lady. They could introduce some unique mods for it. Maybe through the Vault. That would be perfect. Through the Vault, introduce some unique mods specifically for the Order of the Green Lady. Those little things will help build that around it. And they should also be able to include those mods when you purchase the packs as well. So if you buy a unit, right, you can also buy those mods with it. Because I don't have a 3D printer, and I've always wanted the front command for halflings. Because I'm a halfling collector. I've got no other way of getting it. The 3D printing scene over here is pretty small. I mean, I probably could find someone to do it, but it would spend more money. But if I'm buying something from Mantic and it's going to cost me like what $10 extra just to add in the front command for halflings, I'd rather do that than spend all this time trying to hunt down someone to print it off for me. Alright, so I think I've done that. I'm gonna have to. Yeah. I need to add the League of Infamy. Hold up. It's not. Yeah. But Infamy, right? I think I did. Alright. So we're going to build a template. So what I want to do up here is add the League of Infamy logo. Because it's not there at the moment. But I don't have one pre up. So pretty much what I do is once I set up a template, all I have to do is, and I'm talking this out for myself. So, see, I just need to put the logo. So what I want to eventually do, right here, is just type that, and then it should come up. But at the moment, it will just show what I just typed. It will show that. So I want to build that template. I have no printer either, but they will need to get a print on demand service down either on their own. Yeah, to be honest, it baffles me that they don't. I mean, they said that they suggested they're going to implement it with Mantic points. But it baffles me that they're making these products, they're selling it as a STL, but they're not doing it themselves. Which is, it's like creating a product and not selling it. It's the equivalent of that. Because there's so many people like myself, they're in a situation that they're buying heaps from Mantic, and they just want these little bits to add on to their already existing armies, but they've got no option to select them. And that's money they're leaving on the table right there. I mean, they keep complaining about they don't have enough money, but they're not even doing. They're not even doing they're offering services that people want, which is little things. And you could argue like it's a bit of a hassle for Mantic, and maybe they lose more than the game. But if you price them accordingly, and also make sure they print out 5 of every STL that they have currently. Put it in a box there. So when you're filling in orders, tick tick tick, put it in a box, and just top that supply up. Just have a printer basically going 24/7 of printing off 5 of each of these things, and then offering it, putting it on the shop. it just seems like a bit of a waste of a product. Hey, Mark. I can see you. Testing 1, 2, 3. Illegal. Big logo. Cool. Big. Cool. Operating print shop is a problem as it needs a dedicated guy, which they don't have. Well, they can get one. Like, they're printing off stuff, from my understanding, they're printing off stuff anyway. And they're going to be printing stuff off for the Mantic points anyway. And what they should do is get a printing guy who's also looks after the vault instead of having Clive do both. I think Clive is still looking after the vault, but he's also looking after the Halo product as well. So I mean, you're getting them stretched, and this is, everyone talks about how Mantic is stretched in terms of resourcing and all that stuff. Well, this is a classic case of hiring someone here is completely justified. And if you keep going like this, you're not gonna earn money at all. I mean, it's going to earn them cash. It's not exactly a false purchase. False purchase? I don't know what I'm saying. Like a silly decision. Oh no, I didn't want to do that. Dude, when my ADHD goes off, where updating the wiki is terrible. Because sometimes I get off track pretty quickly. They could at least let print shops. Yeah, I mean, I think they've got some kind of program to allow people to do that. I'm not sure of the rules with it. I mean, personally, if I had enough money to set it up, I probably would set up a 3D printer, print them off, and just sell them online. But I can't. I would be a Mantic exclusive STL seller if I knew that was even a possibility to be okay. If Mantic was okay with it, I'd do it. But I mean, the cost of me shipping it across the world would be pretty insane. I mean, I've always wanted to set up a Mantic only shop. Like, I would love to do that. It's just not cost effective. It's like it'll cost way too much. I mean, I wouldn't mind being like the Southern Hemisphere supplier. That would be pretty cool. All right, I'm not getting this right, but I think that's good enough for now. I'm trying to get it to the left a little bit more, and it's not wanting to behave, but I think that's good enough. Setting up printer as a hobby is easy. Doing it as a company is much more tricky. Yeah, I know, I know. I'm saying these things is from a point of ignorance a little bit, but it's also like as a business, you certainly should definitely explore it, and if it's definitely something that you're seeing a future in your company, if STLs is going to be a big element to the future of your company, you should be investing into that infrastructure, right? So if STL Vault is not going away, I think they've proven that it's worked well. It's even opened up the doors of keeping games that doesn't sell that much going. Like Armada is a good example. But if you want to keep that train going, you should be accommodating that, showing that you one believe in it and also are willing to let people get involved, even if you don't have a printer. So if you don't have a printer but you want an Force of the Abyss Armada army, how do you get that right now? Ultimately, you should be able to go to Mantic and buy it. You can't. You can buy the SDLs, but you can't buy the actual army itself. So how do you do it? You have to go to a third party. Now, a third party has to do it in person, just based off the rules. A lot of them get a little bit nervous about that. So one, you have to find a third party that is keen, and also if you got a place like New Zealand doesn't have a huge, and a place like New Zealand, even just an isolated, smaller community or smaller rural community that doesn't have access to these things. It limits the point of entry. And what you want to do is, and I think this is the case with Warhammer, the reason why the door shut on Warhammer but also opened a lot is accessibility. So accessibility can come down to price and how to actually obtain the product. So Warhammer was brilliant at accessibility. I mean, everybody knew how to get their hands on a Warhammer product, right? Easy. I mean, I have a Warhammer shop down in my town, in my city. I actually do have one. We have one here, and it's been there for years and years and years. But price is the other limiting factor, which does shut people out. But the alternative isn't exactly that accessible either. So if you want to go buy some tabletop models, and you're like, all right, I want to start this hobby. You're going to go to the one that's accessible, or well, is the most accessible. And at the moment, is Warhammer. You walk in there and you can buy it, get it in your hand. But I mean, around here, I don't know anyone that physically has any Warhammer on their shelf. Oh, not Warhammer, sorry, Mantic products on their shelves. The only official supplier in New Zealand is something called Mighty Ape, which is an online store, which does quite a bit of a markup on them. And they're Australian owned as well, so that they typically it prices it even more. So, I mean, that's a barrier that Mantic will always have, but it makes it a little bit hard if they're not willing to invest in that front line for their staff, like customer service and all that stuff, because commercial partners love good customer service. They love getting their problems sorted because they don't have time, especially from an international community. You don't, you send them, it sends an email off. You want to get that reply within your business hours. But if you don't have anyone dedicated, and from my understanding, Mantic they have part-time customer service. So the chances of getting reply, like I sent an email complaining I got double charged for Vault. I got a refund, but I didn't get any email to confirm that. It's stuff like that. It may not seem like a lot, but that builds your credibility. Availability for Warhammer isn't always the trick. It's easy for some things, but hard for others, especially stuff. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I think that's going to be the biggest hurdle that Mantic is going to have, is getting the product in people's hands, but also supporting the ones that are giving out their product. So there are two source partners for that. It's one, the local hobby shops, which sadly are more on decline than on the rise, and also online. So when you talk about online, you could be talking about third parties, but typically that direct contact is the customer going to your site, because that's what you ultimately want. You want the customer going directly to your site. So you need to treat them like a commercial partner. You treat them like a commercial partner. One, they feel respected. Two, they will spend more. And three, they'll come back. Simple as that. But if the minute you don't, the minute you limit their options, the minute you don't reply in a timely fashion, the minute you ruck up the cost for something, and you ruck up the cost and then try and pretend you didn't, you're going to lose them. So it kind of worked, I mean, I'm no expert. It's just that's my gut feeling on it. Main problem is Xanta is happy to be a small company when doing well. I don't think they want to be small. They wouldn't not be doing a huge push into America right now. They wouldn't be going to Adepticon if they want to stay small. As for other markets, US is now getting easier. EU, I think it's maybe a bit tougher with the tariffs coming in. It depends on what tariffs, because I mean, they are threatening tariffs for the EU. I don't know about the UK, but their trade is hard. EU without translation is a big problem. Yet there are stores that don't stock anything on the shelf that isn't available in the local language. I got feeling is very similar here. Yeah, I think it's going to be tougher, and that's when you're going to need loyalty. So that what got companies through COVID and what gets companies through difficult times is loyalty, brand loyalty. And if that's eroded, they're not going to stick with you. And that's where that good customer service, that good rapport, that good reputation that comes out about the company treating his staff right, stuff like that. That's when that overrules everything else. And I think Mantic doesn't have a lot in their favor when it comes to that. I think they have eroded a lot of goodwill when it comes to working for Mantic. I've the only positive stories I've had from people from Mantic are people that aren't, or that are in management. The ones in management seem to be treated really, really well. The ones at the bottom end of the food chain don't get paid well and don't get treated well. And this is a creative industry. You have to embrace the people on the front line in order to survive, because they're the ones that actually are going to be creating the product. They're also going to be the ones that are going to be boots on the ground, hearing from or seeing what's hip or what's working at the moment. And if you ignore that, you get in a situation where you start drowning because the old ways aren't the ways that you want to go. US market is very different anyway because there's so much more sci-fi market, hence why Halo works. EU and Asia is much more classified. Yeah, I think it also, and it's part of the reason why Age of Sigma they went in that direction. Age of Sigma, I think it was a case of learning the wrong lessons. When they switched to Age of, they saw 40k and said, "Hey, that works. Let's just do that system with fantasy," and that's why you got rid of the rank and flank stuff. But the issue wasn't the rank of that wasn't the game styles. The issue was the fact of like it was how it was being played. It fantasy just got too complicated. They kept on adding and adding. They didn't subtract. They didn't like, hey, let's make it a little bit more easier to play. They learned the wrong lessons, and that's why rank and flank came back because people missed rank and flank. But they didn't miss the rules, how complicated it was, and that's what it all comes down to. What currently is the generating brand loyalty for Mantic is good rules, which yeah, I would say what's generating it is model agnostic is still a thing. It's less nowadays, but it's still definitely a thing. The flexibility of being able to pick what army you want. I think if we quickly look at this front page here, if we look at that front page right now, you can safely pick an army of you essentially of your dreams. If you want, you know, Greenpeace loving knights, you can go Order of the Green Lady. If you want just nature, you got the Force of Nature. If you want halflings, you got halflings. If you want orcs, you got orcs. If you want like more more civilized, not civilized, more kind of uniformed orcs and a little bit more kind of a traditional army orcs, you got Riftforge orcs. You got the savage people of the north. If you got the more civilized people of the north, like Winterfell, you could say from Game of Thrones. And you got with the Northern Alliance. Where are they? Yeah, Northern Alliance. So I think that's a huge plus for them. So if they get rid of a lot of that, I think it will be it will start to feel like what's the difference between old world and this really. And I mean, could be the main difference is the type of factions they leave in. But I mean, I like the ogres being less savage in Kings of War than Warhammer, and I love the way all these factions are evolving and turning out. But I mean, the Herd is a good one of that. They should definitely keep it because the Beastmen of Warhammer are completely different than the Herd, and the Herd could be a lot more. I think a lot more of the Order of the Green Lady of the fact that they're a little bit more savage. They're not peace-loving nature creatures. They're definitely a lot more kind of savage, but they're still, fighting for nature, which is a force of nature is just nature. What killed Warhammer was no support from Games Workshop. When FAQ errata wrote simply, "We don't make mistakes," when everyone knew it was a copy and paste from the moment the game died. Yeah. Yeah, and I think the problem with Mantic, they have a risk for that because a lot of people that are making these decisions are from that era, and if they don't start listening to the younger players, I mean, if the end goal for Mantic is not to be a long company, not to be a company that lasts a long time, that's fair. Make bank, move on. But if the plan is for this company to last for a very long time, they need to start investing in their future, and that's including future staff and setting that good mentality. I mean, the one thing you can't really bag on GW is the fact that they give all their people a dividend. I mean, they give their own people a dividend if profits are good, and that is very rare for a big corporation. So as much as we bag on GW, they're making sure that they're keeping their people around, and they want to. Because when they don't, they get a Ronnie and start up a Mantic. Because they know people could do it better if the money was there. I really like where Kings is going with the background at the moment. I do agree. I like. Don't get me wrong. I love the direction things are going, which is why fourth edition makes me nervous because it feels like it's heading for a retraction, and it's being motivated by the wrong people. Because Warhammer, like in my remember, this is all my opinion. I think Warhammer is so popular because it gets the dirty casual. The dirty casuals that just see a cool model, collect it, paint it. They don't go to tournaments. They don't play a lot. I mean, me personally, I'm a collector rather than a player. I love my halflings. I love my Riftwatch orcs, and I was the same when I was a kid. When I was dwarfs, that's why I got so many dwarf models. Is not because I played it. It's because I collected it. And so the dirty casuals is who you want to rope in. And that's the reason why the brand is so strong. And I think that's the reason why the 40k multimedia thing works a lot better than probably the Age of Sigma works, is because they kind of stuck to it a little bit, and they continue to expand it. They didn't detract the amount of chapters there were. I mean, yeah, obviously they're probably, if I dived into it, probably a few examples of them doing that. But for the majority of the time, they didn't detract the factions. They added to them. They expanded the world. They kept on going with the world. They didn't cull. So, I mean, I'm excited overall of the direction where everything's going. I just worry. I worry that the wrong people are being listened to, and that when they're designing fourth edition, they're not just listening to one pocket. They're thinking about the dirty casual. They're thinking about the future of the game. They're thinking about the world as a whole, and the writing and the story potential as well. All right, we're going to add the characters that aren't here that we got told about. So now, with the Northern Alliance army, there was another character introduced, Brock. It looks like to you he's a lieutenant of his particular company, of Jordan's company, and it's the same with Lothal. We have Captain Grimdarts, which we will just call Grimdarts. And then we've got Crunk Blackclaw. And who was the last one? And the Void Talon. Void Talon. Alright, and I think that's it. Alright. 40k works because despite what GDR is doing, not because of it. That's is why doing the very same thing did not work for Age of Sigma, because it misses all the points of why people are into 40k. I I I don't know. I don't know if I agree with that. I think they bug it up by nuking the world, of ruining all that history. I love there's two games that I really always go back to, of like I wish they continued with it, and that's oh, what was it? It's Dark Omen is the sequel, and then it was Shadow of the Horn Rat. It's a Warhammer game, and I love those games. This is why Trench Crusade Kickstarter works so well, despite the bad rules, no models available. Catch what people like. Yeah, exactly. I think that's the thing, is people need to innovate, not copy. And I think that's where Kings of War kind of got right, is that they were copying but not exactly imitating. And so I think that's helped it develop, but they need to keep going with it. They need to start innovating these factions, making them their own, showing why they're good, but also, yeah, investing in them as well, and showing why people should invest in them. All right, we're gonna make Brock Brockson. Kind of cheated when I do that. This is the Brock's model. No, he doesn't have art. Match. And that should do it. The idea just adding fantasy Space Marines in chapters with everyone else being NPC because 40k can sustain Space Marines are never going to win. Yeah, I mean, the way they did it backfired. And that's I think that's why Rank and Flank has come back the way they did, because it just never captured the same. I mean, they'd make the argument that Age of Sigmar now, with like I think second or third edition, it's finally become profitable, all that stuff. But it's not the game that I fell in love with. It definitely isn't, and I never touched it. That's why Kings of War I think gravitate a lot more. Currently, the biggest issues I see for Kings is that there aren't a lot of complete factions for people to buy, like Basilia, got Old Pan, Sister, Dwarf Sister. Yeah, I do agree that they should, and that's why when the idea of like introducing, you know, throughout the year, just one model for it, but they're not really setting themselves up for success. Like, I think I messed things up here. Hold up. There we go. Like they're not setting themselves up for success. So let's go begin your journey, right? And like let's say you're brand new. You want to play Kings of War, and you're like, it's a Mantic game. I'm going to buy a Mantic. I want to buy an army. You'd go, all right. Well, I don't want champions. I'm Kings of War. I'm not really interested in that. I just because you maybe don't know. So you go Kings of War. All right, go Kings of War. Okay, all right. So, and say you watch the video, blah blah blah. All right, let's say how you get started. How to play, it goes through all the rules. Now, I really know about that. I'm going to choose my faction. All right, cool. I'm going to choose my faction now. There's a lot of choices here. What do I gravitate to? And then immediately you're confused. What's the difference between Forces of Abyss and Forces of Abyss 2024? No idea. No idea. But let's say you don't really care. You're like, I Forces of Abyss. No, I'm not going to go with that. I want to go with. Let's go. Free Dwarfs. Free Dwarfs. All right. Because maybe you read one of the books. Maybe you read one of the books and you're like, oh, yeah, that's cool. Robertson, I'm such a weird man for a dwarf. It's like calling some horseman. Yeah, exactly. It does feel a little bit lazy, but it's kind of funny at the same time. They killed Warhammer Fantasy because they didn't sell as much as 40k. Yeah, well, the problem is they always, like, this is the problem. This is me going to tangent about corporations. It always has to make a profit or grow in profit. For some reason, they think stagnation and having profit, not growing, but still profit, but not growing, is a bad thing. You can just keep it there. You don't have to always make profit. But yeah, so you go to Free Dwarfs, you read about them, like, all right, cool, I want to buy them. You go here, immediately you're confused. Why is it dwarf? I don't want a dwarf army, I want a free dwarf army. That doesn't make any sense. And you could look through it and then pick something that's not actually available. Like, I'm pretty sure the Steel Behemoth, I should say. I don't know if that is actually available for free dwarfs. Hold on. Yeah, it's not. It's not actually available for free dwarfs. So you're looking at this, clicking free dwarfs, and immediately you're actually offered something that you can't actually use in your army. Exponential growth doesn't work on finite resources. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so it's not available for free dwarfs. So you immediately, if you go, oh, that's really cool, I'm going to buy that, you really screwed yourself up. So first step is when you click show the free dwarfs range, how it should work is that every single one of these options have a selection. It's kind of like what we do in the wiki. And this is how easy this is actually to implement. Down here, we've got categories. Dwarf, Northern Alliance, and Legends of Panathor. So how this website, this particular page works, and we'll go to Northern Alliance. See, this is just a DPL formula. Now, a DPL formula is, you know, I think it's CSS kind of add-on, and all it does is say, we'll go to the dwarf one. Dwarf one. So here in the dwarf one, this will basically show anything in the category of Northern Alliance, anything, and also will have the category dwarf, and also have the category of Legends of Panathor. So if we go, this works. Yeah, cool. If we go to Brockerson, the page has those categories there, and that's what I show. So if I remove one of them, probably might still work, but if I change this one, actually we'll save it. Yeah, and so it has it in that list there. But if I change one of them, and let's say I change it to dwarfed, 2 letters. It won't show anymore. It's simple as that. So all you have to do is on this page, or not page, sorry, on this, have something similar like that, which sorts it, and you just add free dwarfs into it. And now I have to fix this. So something as simple as that takes 2 seconds. I mean, obviously you have to set it up so it can do that, but that kind of thing will solve a lot of problems. So all you have to do is go through each one and make sure that they're available for that faction. Just go free dwarfs, and the same, and that will make, you know, all these items a little better, because this says forces of nature. It'll make all that easier. And that's how all that works. So so all these names that you see here, I don't actually type every single one of them. I just get that search function working, and then that makes my life a lot easier. But yeah, this is the problem: is that you're putting up a barrier. Oh, Mantic anyway is putting up a barrier for entry right now, and confusing people. Like retcon slaves. Hey, I want a retcon slave payment. I've read about it. I've read in here. Cool. All right, let's buy it. It goes to the abyssal dwarfs. That would be confusing. That would be confusing. So the argument of the reason why people aren't into factions is because there's no models. That is an aspect to it, but to be honest, for the dirty casual, for someone that's just trying to get into the game, it's very difficult to figure out if you just go to Mantic's website. So the argument behind it hurts me a little bit. Could you add a starter page to the resource? We could easily do it. Like here, resources, we could go, let's add it right now. Hold up. It's easy enough to do. Where's the resources? What do you want to call it? Call it starter army list. Go starter army list. There you go. The page doesn't exist yet, but it's there. Oh, what happened there? Oh, there, study army. Oh, there we go. I just put it in the wrong. Actually, I'll put it at the bottom because otherwise it's confusing. Put it at the bottom. Yeah, start army list. So we can add it. At the moment, it won't go to anything. But when you're ready, you can create a page and make something for it. Adrian, you say, oh, hey, Adrian, by the way. Yeah, just I said hi. I don't know. That's annoying. Maybe Brogson is actually Brock masquerading as a dwarf. So it's a beaver. It's a huge beaver masquerading. I think he's pulling it off pretty well though. Or his friends haven't realized. They just think he's large and ugly. Oh. Brock's was spelt different. I think I've got them creatures. I think I got them under creatures. Are they Brock spelt normal? I thought I had them under canine. Oh no, Brock's. There you go. I know I've got a page. I didn't. All right. This is the problem with me transferring all this over to a new wiki. Is a lot of the stuff didn't carry over. All the images you can't like pick up, gather up, and transfer. This is the problem. You can transfer all the pages. You can't transfer the actual models. So we're going to do that right now. Pages there. Okay. Give me a sec. How do I do that? We're gonna. How about we change this to? All right, I'll fix that in a sec. Put that over here. Yeah, we'll put that over here. So I'll move this because my ADHD is kicking in. I'm doing too many things now, so I'm gonna go a little bit slower. So let me save these pictures. This is what it's like me editing the wiki without people here. Is that I get focused on the wrong thing. I just go on over a tangent, so I don't end up updating what I need to update. Cool. We're going to update the Brock page first. And so normally what happens if I'm bored or like looking for something to do on the wiki, I just find a random page and update the pictures. Because a lot of my time is now just updating the pictures. Cool. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, if I've done this right, all I should need to do is refresh the page and we should be good. Cool. Now that's it about the tangent. I'm glad. There you go. See, it's there now. Well, the model didn't work. It was a model. That one. Oh, it's not that one. Which one is it? Yep. Is that one? No, it's the regiment. There you go. There you go. That's your doing, Adrian. It's all up to date now. And see, one thing also, you know how I was, oh no, as I was talking about that DPL thing, I do it for the races as well. So that's why on the right hand side you should see Hellbrock. So if there's another Brock that we can introduce, we can, if we find one, we can put it there. Cool. All right. So Codus, let us fix your one. All right. So what we're gonna do to make things a bit easier, we're gonna just rename the page. Starter army list. Cool. So now, in theory, when you click Start Army List, it should go to that. There you go. Now you can just edit it as well. So you can go to Edit, And just because it bugs me, I'm just going to capitalize that. So I'll let you kind of go in there and modify it if you want. There you go. The start. All right. Anyway, let's jump back to champions. Cool. All right. So the next step we're going to do actually is flesh out this kind of page here, looking a little bit naked. So we'll pop an image of the actual game. So I have previously got one ready. And it should have game boxes where I shove it in. I haven't done one of these for a while. There we go. But what we want to do is add all the variants of it. So we want that. We also want the game box, the first game box that it came into. So that's the game box. We'll add gallery as well, so we keep track of all these images. And plus, it's a good way of adding any champions artwork or anything you think will help catalog the game, really. And hopefully we get more two-player starter sets as well. Actually, we can add this now. It's April, right? April 2005. That's the contents. There you go. So with that, you should see, hopefully. There you go. But what we'll do is we kind of want the game box up here as well, and you want to flick between the two so you can actually see it. So I'm going to do another edit. Chuck that here, and we'll go contents and then box set and go tidy it up a little bit. And what a wiki is just doing a little bits at a time and just kind of refining it, making it better. It's never going to be perfect. And that's what we kind of want. We slowly want it to evolve. So here now you got the box set and that. I don't know whether we should put the box set first and then content second, but... and the last thing I actually want to add here is actually the rulebook. So add another image. Remember, anyone can sign up and do this as well. We actually do have a Discord as well, specifically just for the wiki. It's called Wiki Lords. There's not a lot of people in it. Codus, you're in it. I don't think we've got anyone else in it. Alright, rulebook. Alright, and then we'll dump the rulebook here. Cool. And maybe... don't know how I want to do this. I'm trying to find which way is more visually appealing. Switch that around. And there you go. And, obviously everyone can see this, so everyone can go to the wiki and check it out. But yeah, there you go. So now we've kind of got it flicking there. So that's the rulebook. Typically, if I had the PDF, I would just kind of take a better shot of the rulebook, but that's the best I got so far. Yeah, that looks good. I like it. So what we'll have to do is add in the characters, and then we're gonna do a bit of a treat. Is there's something I also want to update? Is the pages the Privator or Pilgrim? because I have cataloged the old ones in the old wiki, but I haven't updated it. So we're going to do that a bit of refresh, plus add the ones that they've been releasing on Facebook. So we have them cataloged and kind of in here as well. There's a lot of good lore that's in those pages. Cool. All right, so now we're going to do Grunk. We'll upload his image first. Here's Grunky. Now, the sign-ups are actually currently disabled, so if you do want to sign up, join the Discord and send me a message. Mainly because every time I open it up, it gets nuked by Russian bots. So I have currently blocked it off. I love to help out with the wiki, how I used to contribute to an old tactics wiki for Malefax. Just a time issue, kids are consuming. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, anyone that contributes, you don't need to contribute a lot. It's pretty much like changing a phrase here or adding something. So it's anyone that does sign up and contributes, I'm not expecting you to just constantly that be your life. It's just help out when you can, if you can. Because there's only so much I can do, but I think I have to make the wiki at least for now until I figure out the solution. It's going to be locked down to people who have to ask me for a username, and I'll set them up. So until I can figure out how to stop it being nuked every time I open up the signups for it, because it happens so much. And when I say nuked, they make thousands and thousands and thousands of pages and of usernames, and it takes me pretty much a whole afternoon to fix it. And I've done that several times now. And that's all 3 wikis as well. It hurts a little bit. Oh, actually, no, we don't need that. A bit of it's actually on the website. So on the website, on the wiki, it's the first one, Discord, and that will bring up the Discord. I've made it relatively easy. And then we'll go install Discord. Yeah, well, I made it easy enough. So if you don't do it right now, you know where the link is now. Let's see, Grunk. The Grunk isn't loaded here. It's because you kind of basically need to refresh this in order for it to actually load the people. It does load it over after 24 hours, but I like to speed it up to make sure I've done it right. There you go, Grunk. Right there. Surprised it wasn't already a Grunk. This is annoying. Gotta fix that. I don't like it like being on that. It's just how because I designed it so it works on phones as well when you look at this. And because the problem is when you do a table, you will have to scroll on your phone like to the right as much as you can, as depending on how big that table is. This works dynamically. So if you look it up on phones, it should list these vertically instead of horizontally or automatically. So if you went to the website on the phone and you looked up the character list, all this should should format in a way that it's actually readable on phone. It's the way I designed it anyway. Because I wanted it usable both on phone and not. So. Anyway, there we go. There's crunk added, but this is buggered up. So let's go fix that. A lot of the time it's just one little thing that I forgot to do. In this case it will be a dash. Right here. Updated the Basilia starter armorless for the new boxes. So my plan for the mic. Nice. Good job. I should actually add the Basilian stuff. Because we have knights, right? Right, yeah. It'll be career Paladin Knights, there we go. So these were updated. So let me see if I've got. I think I have got it. Alright, we'll go to Mantic. So if we go to pre-orders, there's the Paladin Knights. Now it's got the white background, which is very annoying. So I don't like the white background because it loads funny. So what does that go to? It goes to the old knights. Interesting. So they have 2 pages. One of the new knights, one of the old knights. Well, that's not confusing at all. Alright, so what I normally do is bring up Adobe and I kind of delete it, but I don't know how this is going to work with streaming at the same time. So if this crashes, we'll just end the stream. Because I was only intending to do this for an hour. And it's gone on for what? An hour and a half. So this might start slowing things down. Alright. So I've got Adobe up. You can't see it. I don't want to show that because I want to go look here. Alright, I need to get rid of some of the white spots that didn't get all deleted. This won't be long. It'll be like a 2-second thing. Not sure of anything PVC gets changed to resin this time. Well, I mean, it's good that they're modernizing their things, though. I mean, you can't take that away from them. Cool. All right. Well, it didn't crash, so that's a positive. Muzzle and knights. New. Put that in the right folder so I don't lose it, which I typically always do. Alright, I'm going to close that down. Cool. But yeah, I normally use Adobe just to get rid of all the white stuff. Hi, Jerican. From the looks of things, the champions are all new Mantic resin. That's what I'm told. I'm pretty sure in the Discord, in the Mantic fans Discord, funny enough, under the Halo oh no, it wasn't. It was the Halo Flash Pointers chat, and I think Clive confirmed it's essentially the same resin, and this is why the cost is quite high. It's the same as they're doing for the Halo ones, the special Fireteam Phoenix 2025 special. I believe that they're the same. I'm pretty sure Clive confirmed that it's the same, which is why the cost is probably as high as it is. And hey, Jerican. Yeah, they phrase it differently because, like, this costs more because we're using different resin is probably not a good marketing. Which is why it's okay. Yeah. But, I mean, that could be wrong. Cool. Alright, let's chuck in the new knights here. Mode lines. We want to keep the old. Make sure we know which one's which. And there you go. Got the new ones there. And what's the description? We'll steal that. I like to steal these for the about section. It's a lot better than typically what's there. It's different resin and not made by Mantic in-house as other resin models, but not Soulcast, which is cool. That's the one thing that does surprise me about the Mantic stuff is how much stuff they don't do themselves, like through contracts or through getting other businesses to to print their product and stuff. I get the whole factory stuff and the bigger side of things, but future proofing yourselves, you gotta have to start doing a lot of the stuff yourself. Especially the contract, the modelers. A lot from the sounds of it. Now I don't know. This is only what people tell me. Could be completely wrong, but a lot of it is contract work, which, considering that is your business, is creating models and selling them. You want to keep that in house because one, it costs you a fuckload, and two, you want to be able to pivot and change it quite regularly. And also, if they're working for the company, they're more likely to put in a lot more of their their ideas and passions instead of just filling in a contract. But I mean, that's just me. I mean, I could be completely wrong on that. I'm just I guess I'm just surprised about how much stuff is and I always hear about they got someone else to do it because if you get someone else to do it, what basically is going to happen is that they're just going to fulfill the contract. They're not going to like show you stuff like what they did in the off time. Yeah, Luigi's main sculptor, but it's contract. Yeah, I think that's going to bite them in the butt a little bit. And by this point, with so many of their own unique IP in games, really need to get away from contract. It will cost them a fortune. That's the problem. It will cost them a fortune. It comes down to releases. I don't know. They've got enough going that hiring someone full time, they should have enough work full time to do it. And it kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier: is that at any point, if there isn't any releases coming up or anything to work on, just get them to pick a random faction from Kings of War, develop a unit for it. There is so much variant units that we don't have that there will be always something to do. And the same with Warpath, and the same with every single game they've got. You could easily just go, hey, we've got about a week or two here that we don't have any deadlines, don't have anything coming up. Why don't we do as a bit of a creative thing? You just go into Dave's wiki that he's made, pick any faction, and you find a unit that does not have a current Mantic model for it, and you build it. If you think Mantic have monthly schedule, that can build probably in a couple of weeks. Yeah, I mean, I don't know the behind the scenes, and I know running the business is hard. I'm a workforce manager by trade, So I do see red flags when it comes to workforce and flags when it comes to attrition and all those things that the high level stuff you see. And attrition is a big indicator of whether you want to stay at a company or not. And if there's not any, if there's, it seems like unless you're a high ranking in the manager side of Mantic, the attrition is pretty high. So it feels like even if you get hired, you don't want to stay there, which is probably why they're still being contracted. I'm with you on that. But at the end of the day, it always comes down to cost. But then again, they're not selling all their products on their website. They don't sell the physical copy of their books, and there could be an argument of they don't make money on there, but they could always buy it at cost and sell it only slightly higher. Because, I mean, if they're going to just make 50 cents on a book, right? Most likely they're not just going to buy the book from you. They're going to buy other stuff from you. So you're getting 50 cents a product of something you've already developed. And the same with all the STLs. I mean, they're not selling any of those STLs on there. There's one thing that always has bothered me for so long. This is how much I think they care about the store. This is a good representation of what bothers me. Why the hell is that one on its side? It bothers me the hell. Like, this is how much care they put into it. It's like, just turn it. My OCD goes a bit crazy. Just freaking turn it. It's little things like that. It's like, you don't even care enough to do that. How do you expect people to This should be the universal Mantic shop. That any Mantic product that's currently available, you should be able to buy from here. That should be the dream, and you should be able to find any on Kings of War. You should be able to find any models that can be used for your faction on here. You should be able to find pretty much everything on there. So if you go, all right, I'm new to Kings of War. I want an Order of the Green Lady army. I want to build it. You go to Mantic's site, and you should easily be able on Kings of War, find Order of the Green Lady, click it, and you find those models, even though they're from different factions. They're maybe not unique to Order of the Green Lady. You should be able to just click it. Let's just say, no, not Orcs. What's Order of the Green Lady? It's probably Basilians. It's probably a good one. You should be able to click that. And what should be here is some kind of indication that it can be used for that faction. So just to confirm it. So maybe Order of the Green Lady, little logo there. You click it. And it actually, in the description on the left-hand side, give you a bit of a, like, if you want to use this Order of Green Lady, you can. And here's maybe a video or a guide or some kind of indication of how to convert it or what's a good way of converting it. You just made $32. Although they sell STLs now, that's literally no limit on the work available if they had it in-house. Yeah, exactly. That's a good example there, Adrian. Although if you look at Wargames Atlanta, they're pumping out sculpts in digital, and everything there is designed not as 3D sculpts, but as something that they can use later for plastic casting. I mean, they could do both. I mean, you have to do a bit of research to figure out how to do that effectively and cost effectively. But again, not having someone in-house is probably going to handicap them on that. Because, I mean, the contractors are only going to fulfill the contract. They're definitely not. They may show you some cool stuff once in a while and say, oh, look at this. But you're never going to get that in-house person going, hey, I've got this really cool idea. Can I explore it? Or I've made this, I had some free time. I've made this. What do you think? Do you think we could sell it? Or do you think we can make it? A lot of things like that you get from non-contractor work. The WGA has a very different business model, as they also do models for other companies and sell their equipment experience off to others. I think a lot of companies actually do that. A lot of smaller companies do it. I don't. This is me just talking from the outside about what Mantic does behind the scenes. I don't know if they do any of that. But there's potential. They've got enough. They've got a strong enough of an IP to do a lot themselves, I reckon. Same as Archon Studios. Didn't they say? I didn't say they didn't, but it's a good template for STLs. Yeah. I mean, I hate 3D printing, but I can see how. I mean, to be honest, 3D printing is not going to go away, and I think it's going to be like the way of the taxi versus Uber kind of problem. You will either embrace Uber and go see what Uber's doing and then do that, or you fight against it. Now, taxis got so upset because they fought against it, but the reason why people loved Uber is the convenience. They loved Uber because it was easy. It was simple. You just download an app, you can just order a taxi whenever you can, or no taxi, and you order a ride whenever you can. But with taxi, you have to call. There's no guarantee. There's very limited amount of options, and Uber opened that up. So, I mean, you may hate 3D printing, but it is the way it's going. For me personally, Kings of War is very hard to get hold of. It's very expensive to get hold of. 3D printing is an option for me in the future if I actually want to continue doing the hobby. Things are going to get more pricey. They're not going to get cheaper over the next couple of years. And my budget to invest into Kings of War is going to be very, very limited, especially after my heart transplant. I'm not exactly going to have expendable cash. I'll be stuck at home a lot, so I'll be ordering out a lot, but not here. You can't. I don't know where you are. Where are you? Where in the world are you? Because I guess that matters as well. Ooh, right. I should get back on track because I've kind of gone off on a little bit of tangent. There we go. So we've done Crunk. We'll do the Void because that's is Night Stalker. But under the character list, what do we list as a Void Talon? I've just got Night Stalkers. Oh, okay, so I can just make them as a Night Stalker. Let's see how I've got that listed. Just Night Stalker. Okay, that makes it a little bit easier. Alright, and use Grunk as a model. Northern Ireland, Uber, just another taxi company. Ah, okay. Well, I mean, I'm talking about Uber as the original concept. The original concept of Uber before they started, chucking in more charges and it started to get a little bit ridiculous. I'm talking about the straight why there was an issue, Uber versus taxis. The reason why there was an issue because Uber was more customer friendly. It was what people wanted, but taxis had such a monopoly on it. The minute they lost that monopoly, they freaked out. And instead of pivoting to that model, which they now, admittedly, most taxis have pivoted to more of a Uber model in terms of convenience and actually, using apps and a little bit more like that. Instead of pivoting, a majority fought against it. Majority fought against it and protested and all that stuff. It protested in over here in New Zealand they did. So SDLs are going to be the same thing. It's going to be you're going to have companies that are fighting tooth and nail against it, or you're going to get ones that embrace it. Now, to be fair, Mantic, yeah, they've embraced it, which is good. Now, I think they initially embraced it, and then they said, hey, we've got a head start on here. We're going to stick to our model and not innovate or change it or make the product better, which is essentially where they're at the moment. They're not letting people individually download the STLs. They're kind of forcing them to buy stuff they don't want. Now, there's always an argument about cost to say, hey, it's actually more cost effective if you buy the pack, if you buy a subscription and then buy it and it's all that stuff. It's like, well, no, it's like I just want this. Just want to spend $2 for this one model and that's it. That's all I want. But instead, they're kind of forced in the other one, which I know has put a lot of people off. And one of the arguments for doing that is the fact that less people will subscribe to the Vault service if they do that. And my argument for that, if people unsubscribe from the subscription service because you're offering the STLs as individuals, your problem isn't that. It's the fact that you've got a bad product, bad subscription service. You should be improving that service to keep people invested. I know a lot of people who have a Vault subscription who don't actually print them off. They just want to support Mantic. And I did. I personally did for a while. I had a Vault subscription because I wanted to support Mantic, but it reached a point where I needed to save money and I needed to cut back. And they were double charging me as well every month. And I was like, that's not right. What can you fix this? And they didn't get back to me. They ended up refunding me it, but they didn't give me any apology or any email. So I had a little bit of a bitter taste in my mouth from that. But that's just me. That 3D printing is even an option is simply because some of the ridiculous plastic prices because easier, more convenient Mantic isn't there yet. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, it's cheaper for me to buy Games Workshop products than it is Mantic, sadly. But I still go with Mantic because it's more. This is more of a fun hobby for me rather than doing it because that's the best war game out there. Um, I just got invested in the lore. That's why I'm more of a lore person. It's funny though. I had a 3D sculptor on the show last year, and he thinks 3D printing isn't going to be the solution. But it's not going to be the solution. It's going to be an aspect to it. I don't. I definitely don't think it's going to be end all be all. It's going. I think a lot of people do still like buying the product directly from the company and supporting the company. But 3D printing is going to help for those little things. Like the Vault's a good example of like just little like modifications, little things here and there. But they're going. The 3D printing is going to happen anyway. You can't fight it. But if you put it in a way of like, if you do things through us, you can still do 3D printing, but we can also make a couple of dollars on the side, and you can do it legally as well. So I don't think it's going to be a solution. I do think it's going to be an aspect though to the industry going forward. And if you fight against it, it's just going to grow bigger. It's just going to grow bigger because people are just like, well, I mean, if they hate it so much, there must be a reason for it. So I'm just going to do that from going forward. But again, all speculation. I could be completely wrong, but I mean, if I had a 3D printer, it would save me a lot. It would definitely save me a lot. Ooh. Now, did I upload the model? I don't know if I uploaded the model yet. It cannot be as it is more work, it needs more dedicated space, and people need to learn to handle it same way as still not everyone has an airbrush yet. It doesn't get easier with plastic models, and those should be cheapest option. Yeah, it should be. It should be, and I think that's what I think. I'm talking my thoughts out loud here. I think the more accessible 3D printing gets, obviously the cheaper things will be. I think it will keep modeling cheap as long as 3D printing is around. As long as 3D printing is an alternative, it's going to keep costs relatively down. Because everyone will be like, all right, I just won't buy it. I'll just print it off myself. Because I would rather pay $5 extra buying it directly from Mantic than printing it off myself. I would easily do that. But if that markup stops being $5 and it starts being 20 or 30 or 40 or 50 for one model, you're going to lose it. It's going to lose it. So it's going to keep at least it's going to keep the companies honest. But again, I could be completely wrong on that. Avoid Talon. I don't even know if Night Stalker is a race. But I put them as one, so they're like it's like Venom. They're like a Venom kind of thing. Type it. Yeah, technically they are, but I think the problem is GW has definitely tainted the hobby to make it feel like like every company needs to match that kind of expensiveness. And just being a little bit cheaper doesn't necessarily make it cheap. Like it's like that example I said about the car. Like you could have two cars, one selling at $1,000. This is hypothetical. One selling at $1,000, one selling at $999, and it's like $1 cheaper. And you're like, oh well, at least the second card's cheaper doesn't necessarily mean it's the price it should be. It just means it's cheaper. And I think that's where Mantic had initially the advantage when they first came out. From what I've read up about it, Mantic had that advantage, but that gap has got smaller and smaller and smaller. And I think right now we're in an interesting spot where they're jumping over to it being the same, especially with the new resin pricing. Like the 2025 Halo, those 4 Halo models, apparently they're going to cost around about like 86 Australian dollars. What's that? Aussie to NZD. I need to work out. It's 86. So that's $94 my currency. What's that pounds? For 4 models, it's quite a lot. 94. What's pounds? Or was it sterling? It'll be pounds sterling, wasn't it? Yeah. It's about 41 pounds. And that's not including shipping. The shipping's going to bug me on that one. It does. So, I mean, I'm sadly because of my saving for my transplant, and see, this is the machine my heart runs on. I don't really show it, but this is the machine here. I just can't afford it. I need to save it, unfortunately. I mean, in New Zealand, I'm grateful that all the medical stuff is paid for, but my rent doesn't get paid. Sadly, doesn't pay for my rent. So I'm gonna definitely have to like pull back on a lot of the model stuff I've got. I guess part of that is licensing costs, but still, that's way more than expected. Yeah, me too. Me too. And in order to get like the GT kit, the Grand Tournament kit, I think what Clive said, it's like 3 OP kits, so that's £60. £60 plus the cost of the models. So it'll probably be around about it'll probably be in the 120 New Zealand, something like that. I'm glad I've never gone to Halo. I love Halo. Like I've got yeah. I know to make sure you put the balls in. Wow. This is my Halo helmet. See? I'm very proud of my Halo helmet. It's a Halo 3 one, the Halo 3 Legendary Edition. Yeah. So it says the 3, I think. There you go. Very proud of my Halo helmet. And these are my Halo games. Yeah. And I've got my Halo bookshelf over here, so I'm very into Halo. So that's why I'm more of a collector than an actual player. And that's why I'm a little bit disheartened by the pricing. That I'm essentially already priced out of the game. And kind of screwed. Pick up the stuff from the ground. I'm back. There you go. So yeah, that's why I'm a little bit gutted by the pricing. But I mean, again, could be completely wrong when it comes out, but it's hinting in that direction. And it makes you a little bit worried because it does set up a precedent. Because if it does sell well, they're gonna do it again. Give it to you. It's a nice seller. Yeah, I'm pretty stoked with it. Make sure I get this right. Adding the lieutenant. I mean, I get why they do it. At the end of the day, they're a company, need to earn money. It's just it sucks, especially in I think right now as well with costs so high for everything. I mean, over here the cost of living is insane. I mean, I think it's across the board. It's just hard to justify putting money, especially with other things going on, life going on. You like have to decide what's more important. And there's definitely no way I'm going to be able to afford Champions. So definitely Champions is out. Halo, maybe. I may be able to afford some of that Halo models, but So many things, it depends on how I save. Problem here is that if people demand high quality models, resin and as Mantic's the only real option, and that's way too expensive. Not even sure if the license will even allow them a regular multi-part place. I don't think the license will allow them, but there is no reason why they went high level here. They did it just for something special. And I'm grateful they even give people like myself the option to buy these models because they were, especially the 2025, they were supposed to be event exclusives. But I exactly can't get on a plane and go to the UK or the US on a whim just to buy full models, as a collector. So yeah, I mean, yeah, don't get me wrong. I'm pretty sure they even give when people like myself are even given the option. That still sucks that the price is so high. I mean, and that's not including shipping. Shipping is typically another like £20, which is like $40. But yeah, yeah, each their own, everything like that. I mean, no one's forcing me to buy the model. No one's. I'm gonna piss and moan about it just because I'll miss out, but eventually I'll get over it. But it just sucks. So far, I've been really good with getting everything. And once I get once I get the call about my heart transplant, I'm gonna be stuck inside for a while. So the idea is that I'm kind of stocking up on models at the moment, just so I have something to do. Because being stuck inside for a year of your life kind of is not exactly the most ideal scenario. And that's the main reason I can justify spending money on that. Like I'm investing in my own boredom for the future. I guess we have to buy some here and visit you. Yeah, if you get, I mean, probably not next year because I wouldn't be able to see you. But I mean, no, there's a good chance I'm gonna cave and probably get the 2025 ones. I just wish it wasn't so much because I really want them. I'm a big Halo fan. That price is about right for resin. I'm just glad I played Dead Zone. Yeah, I'm sure the price is right, but things should be getting cheaper. They shouldn't be getting more expensive. That's the ultimate thing. Is kind of wish it were going the other way. But hey, that's just it's a nerd complaining about stuff. So I mean, it's not really a big deal. And I get it. They're a company. They need to make the money, but convert. Right. The problem is with my ADHD going on tangents. I have to remember what I was doing. Oh wait, I have to figure out. I've got it. Right. Just play. I wish Dead Zone was a bigger thing. I know they did the whole Sci-Fi Summer last year, but it does feel like it's still on the outs a little bit. I know trying to can do. Close that. Make sure I don't update the wrong. Oh, and that one's... I don't remember. What I've got the logo named as. It's getting late now. No, I'm good. Good night, have fun. Yeah, thanks, Curtis. Thanks for popping around. This was only ever supposed to be a stream for an hour, so I probably will be ending it relatively soon. So I do appreciate you popping around, and
The idea is that I do these on a regular basis, is maybe once a month, is do a bit of a live stream of updating the wiki, but I don't know, depends if people actually care. So I'm doing this anyway, it's just a case of doing it with people is a lot more fun. Damn it. Did I not upload? Oh, I didn't push upload. There we go. There you go. Grim Dance. Why is that doing that? I think I spelled Twilight wrong. So it's a Jerrican? In? You said you had a show. What's your show? I don't know if Jerry's still Jerrican's still there. Is that actually? I don't think it's actually Jerry. It can't be actually Jerry. Alvin. What country? No, I don't actually have a page for it. Why have I not got? Oh, because I wanted to do a race page rather than the faction page. Okay, that's what I did it. You wait for. Oh, are you Jerry? Jerry? Good voice, Jerry. Smooth voice. Yeah, I should say smooth voice, Jerry. It's Irish, closer to gherkin, but with a guttural G. Good, good, good. I mean, I always spell your name with a G, but Chris always spells it with a J. So when I'm making the YouTube, because all the YouTube stuff I do, when I'm typing, I'm pretty sure it was always G, and he always does it with a J. Oh, hey, mate. I haven't actually had a chance to actually speak to you before. I've been smoking a whiskey ski. I miss my I miss whiskey. So basically, on the 23rd of December, I went into hospital with shortness of breath, and what it turns out, I had an undiagnosed genetic condition with a bicuspid valve. So it meant that I was born with two two vessels out of the heart rather than three, and so because of that, it had basically destroyed my heart, and from that point onwards, I basically had to go through the health system. Turns out I need a heart transplant. That's why they put me on this machine, and I no longer can drink alcohol, which sucks because it was one of those scenarios that like the last thing I drank was a shitty beer, and ever since then I've just craved a really good whiskey, and I just can't drink one. And I mean, you can get non-alcoholic whiskeys now, but it's just not the same. It's not like the mouse from the kid. No, it's not from. It's not the mouse. I think I think it's just a bad habit. It's like when you get introduced to someone as one name, and then you've got actually got it wrong, and it takes ages for you to trick your brain into actually using the right name again. It's good to see you. You do awesome work, and you add really cool flavor to the monthlies that you, Chris, and Clem do. And it's really good to get that perspective. It's really an outside perspective because we all, in that Mantic circle, so you can really take a outside look of things and give a different perspective. It's really good. Do appreciate it, and a little bit of professionalism. But I mean, I don't know how much of that we actually bring. But yeah, so yeah, I've always wanted a whiskey since December 2023. I've been really want one, and I'm only 30. I was 36 at the time, so I'm only 38 38? No, I'm 37. 37 now. So I'm still relatively young in terms of my life. So maybe one day when I have a hard like, yeah, maybe one day. I just can't. I can't. I don't want to say maybe one day because I don't think I could ever drink alcohol again. To be fair, I think I've been on board with Mantic longer than anyone else. Yeah, probably. Yeah. Actually, no. Probably Mark is pretty. I know. I think one of the short stories about the origins of Kings of War you're involved because I remember making a short on it. Let's see if I can find it. I think you must be the same Jerry from it. I didn't think of it at the time. Um, shouldn't be really showing all this stuff. But, I think it's a short that I made. This one here. We'll pause the music and see if this works. Oh, I've got it mute.
Many times, but
Whoa.
for our listeners,
Whoa.
well, that is a great story, Alessio. I know you've told it many times, but for our listeners, can you tell us how Kings of War actually was created?
At Salute that year, we were having a drink or two or three at the bar in the hotel, and Warren Johnson of Beast of War said to Ronnie, "You should get this man to write a game for you." It just so happened that Ronnie and I were literally.
That was Warren.
The funny bits I think you're referring to is that proposed me the idea of writing a fantasy battles system.
So it's from On Tabletop. Is Warren still there?
8 pages, and he was like, "Yeah, sure you do." And I was like, "No, I'm not kidding." The challenge was set when I presented it, and Ronnie got back to me saying, when you said 8 pages, we thought you were going to give us a little small thing that could have been maybe a icebreaker, but actually this thing you've done works. It's a game. It's playable with Amulet. It's just an interesting war game. And I was like, yeah, that's what I told you. He wouldn't believe me, and then he played it and went, okay, it works. So yeah, that's how it came to be.
Well, that
Never mind. It was Warren. It was Warren the one that did it. Sorry, I kind of blew everyone's ears off with that. Sorry. He's still about. Oh, well, he's definitely part of the orange, but yeah, it's good to have people that have been around for a while, and also be able to have a good perspective of seeing how it's evolved. I mean, I've got an outside perspective of seeing the history of Kings of War, even just as Mantic, of seeing how they originally started, seeing some of the supplements, and seeing how that's changed. I definitely like what they were doing with the supplements in first and second edition. It does feel like a lot of that's kind of lost over time. These days does most stuff behind the scenes. Makes sense. There's only so much you want to do on camera. I mean, that's like the path of like a YouTuber or anyone that does any online content, is that initially they're at the forefront, and you see this in Rooster Teeth, with Bernie and the Fab Four. They did a lot of stuff in front of the camera, and then just eventually went back, and unfortunately, I lost a lot of the magic because of that. And Rooster Teeth ended up becoming Rooster Teeth, but I mean, it's just a natural progression, and a lot of the time, it's just you have to set up the foundations for it to continue on. There's not a lot of internet companies that have been at least internet media companies that have been able to achieve that. Where am I? Okay, so what I want to do is alright, I need to recatalog these because now there are got the League of Infamy pages, got the Armada pages, and got Kings of champion. Pages. Same. I haven't fixed this up since I converted over to the new wiki, so let's go. Cool. He really hates GWs, so he never does any front these days because he doesn't want to talk about them. No, that's fair. That's fair. To be honest, look, I'm thankful for them getting me into the hobby, and I'm thankful for the good that you can take out of what they put into the hobby. But at the end of the day, they know they're on top, and instead of encouraging competition, because more competition means more people and expanding their base, they have tried to squash the majority of competition, which is probably why they struggle financially often. Is because they're not that. It's kind of like the whole console war thing. Is everyone's like PlayStation or Xbox and all this stuff, and like anyone with any common sense is like, no, you want both to be strong, because if both are strong, it means you've got a bigger player base, a bigger pool of people, and there's the people involved is just bigger. And the thing with this hobby, GW should be looking at Mantic as the competitor, but not in an aggressive way, like effectively learning off. And they typically don't. They typically think they're so shit hot. And I think Old World is probably the closest to them acknowledging that they got it wrong and that they have to pivot, because people wanted rank and flank again, and they were going to rank and flank games, and those rank and flanks were getting bigger. I don't think they care much for Old World, and I don't think it's going to last. But I completely get the hatred though, and I worry certain companies going down that route because they see GW as like, we want to be GW. It's like, no, you actually don't. You don't want to be GW, because that toxicity is the reason why so many get burnt out of Warhammer after only a few years. And it burnt me out. It's like when they switched to Age of Sigmar, I was out. There was no way up until that point, I just got burnt out. And then that's pivot is like, and they're still doing it now. They're still making factions just irrelevant, especially in the Lord of the Rings games. Is that this fact, and I've seen a few videos on it of people just putting all this time and effort into their factions, and then these releases are just making those models redundant. And it sucks, because you put all this time and effort, you love these models, but it doesn't mean anything to GW. And I think that's something that we have to make sure that Mantic doesn't lose. But I don't know, I see signs I don't like. I'm trying to find there it is. And that's what I want to get. So it's this kind of information that can't find anywhere else. But once I found, I made a point to catalog it. Really good lore stuff. I wish they'd do more of this kind of stuff. Like the Armada game, the base of people playing the game is actually pretty strong. I mean, it's not as strong as it makes tons and tons of money, but there's still a good base that play the game. And they have an opportunity of showing they're doing what GW doesn't do, which is look after their not so popular games. which last year they did show some good support for Armada in terms of brand new faction, new units, and so forth. But they so could just make a quick PDF of the rule set and have a little bit of a printed supplement. Oh, sorry, a PDF supplement for it. Alright, so on a different on a different browser, I'm just gonna get the ones they've been posting on the Facebook. Make sure I save these right, otherwise I'm gonna lose it. Ones they've done, yeah, I think. Yeah, they've done 3. There's probably going to be about 4. That's what they normally do. It's a strange one since it's a Warlord's game, but when they borrowed sci-fi models from Warlord and Archon as well, it shows they're not beyond reaching out. Yeah, I don't know. I do think they should acknowledge some of this fan base a little bit more of the showing, like I think it kind of goes what we were talking about before, that they have so much going in the background, but they don't tell anyone anything until the last minute. So them building hype, like with the Armada stuff, is that they just dropped the fact that they were coming out with a brand new faction. They could have just nurtured that a little bit and kind of teased it, but tend to just drop things. And I know sometimes I just want to be a fly on the wall in Mantic and also yell at them a couple of times. Like, why are you doing this? Doesn't make any sense. Alright, so what I want to do... Go. In fact, at this stage, Mantic have done more with Armada than Warlord's games on Black Seas. Really? I did not know that. Okay. Well, that's a win. Well, that's definitely a win. I mean, if you're going to grab a new people, like there's a Facebook group, I think it's Armada Fanatics, and it's a very quite active group. So there is definitely people finding the game, discovering the game, and you definitely can put it in a sunset or maybe like low maintenance mode and just give an update once in a while. And you probably can rope in a lot of people from the fan base to help out with that. It's just, I'm not sure why they don't. Because, I mean, they got NDAs, you know, they got a lot of NDAs at the end of the day. So they can also NDA people. It's just, it's weird for them to just not do anything with an IP that's clearly still attracting some people to it. And, you know, okay, it comes down to money or that, you know, not having the staff, yada yada yada. But I don't know. That argument, I struggle to understand that argument, considering how much of their own product they don't sell, and how much support staff they have, which is very very few. Is like, where was all the money going? Because they keep saying they don't have a lot of money, but they clearly are making money. They don't have a lot of support staff. So they're either paying a premium for something, which has got I've got a feeling they're paying a premium for contract work. I think that's where all the money is being sunk in. And the more they do contract, the higher those prices are going to be. I don't know, that's just my gut feeling. I don't know if that's actually true. Ring, not ring. It's good to know though that they have. I know it. One thing I did hate about GW is how they abandoned their games after a while. Like Morheim, I still love. I know it's kind of a redundant thing to say. A lot of people are even bashing people that saying they think it's the best game. I don't know if it's the best game. I just know it was one of my favorites. Contracts and licenses, probably, but if they're spending that much in contracts and licensing, and especially how they've got a lot of their own IP. I don't know. A Halo license killed one War Games company already, so it can't be cheap. Yeah, but I mean, to be honest, that company didn't really have a lot else going on for them. They kind of put all their eggs on that basket, and I think I'm seeing those signs here from Mantic as well. I mean, I'm hearing a few murmurings how some of the what do they call them? They call it not ambassadors. What does Mantic call them? Pathfinders. Yeah, a lot of the Pathfinders, which are solely Pathfinders initially because of Kings of War and because of Dead Zone and that, are getting pressure to become a Halo Pathfinder, which a lot of them don't really care for Halo and they don't want to be, but they're like, why aren't you going? Why aren't you pushing this game? And it's like, guys, like, yeah, Warhammer's still popular. Just look at Trench Crusade. Yeah, I've seen definitely in the last couple of years that coming back up, Pathfinders. Yeah, last couple of years definitely it's come back. Yeah, I'm hearing that the Pathfinders are a little bit under pressure to push Halo, and I think like just because you're a Pathfinder, you shouldn't automatically be like invested in whatever Mantic put out. You're a Pathfinder for what you care about and what you're passionate about. So to be hearing that already makes me slightly concerned that that's going to be the priority going forward, and that if things like what am I doing? Things like the Kings of War 4th edition or the Dead Zone, if they don't do as well, it's just become the side project for them, and then they're going to push the side, and then it's going to be like Lord of the Rings, right? They put too much into it, and eventually it just fades away. And I mean, to be fair, Lord of the Rings did save GW as a company. So it could be a scenario here is that Mantic's actually on the verge, and the reason why they need to push more into Halo is to save their butts, but who knows? Mantic Games seem stable enough, they just don't invest into their ground level staff, which from a workforce planning point of view, huge red flags. I mean, that's what it sounds like. They've got a terrible attrition rate. It sounds like anyone on the front line, doing those basic jobs, customer service, just basic stuff, being paid minimum wage, they're not going to stick around, and you're not really going to nurture staff. And some of the things I've seen, I'm not going to say his name, but there is one particular person who's in charge of Halo who doesn't really treat customers in a very nice way. And I know somebody who recently went to the Mantic Halo tournament at Mantic Studios, and he won all games, and he came 5th place. and the winner also won 4 games, but the second place winner came second. Oh, sorry, actually no, the second place winner, sorry, only won 2 games. So he won 4 games. The second place won two games, and it all came down to the system, the achievement system, which they really don't like, but apparently is working as intended, and he got very dismissed by the person running it, and the way it went down wasn't great. And it's when you hear that kind of stuff, it's like, why should I help this company? Why should I buy this company's product if you're gonna treat people like that? It makes it very hard to be a fan sometimes. And I think the IP is great. Don't get me wrong. I think the IP is a really good IP in terms of everything in the Panathor world, everything in the Warpath world. I think the IP is definitely strong and ready to be really nurtured and explored. But it really, a lot of the people that have been around for a while are telling me things that make me think, you know, are they going to head in the right direction? What's going to change the current direction everything's going? And there is nothing. There is nothing changing it. It's definitely an old school way of running. You know, they definitely have feelings of like GW kind of way they treat people and stuff. So, but hey, I could be completely wrong. I don't know enough about the industry to be able to make a call, and I do hope that they'll be able to pivot appropriately, but we'll see. But what's going to be quite interesting, especially in the Halo Flashpoint world, is how Adepticon goes, because so far all the big Mantic run tournaments have been here in the UK. I was about to say here in the UK, but I'm not in the UK. Have been in the UK, and the major issue that comes out of the results of that is that the one who wins the most games isn't the one winning the competitions. It isn't first, second, third have won the most. No, it's about this arbitrary achievement rule and points as well during the game. So basically, you could have 2 players that are the top, the best players in the competition, but it's luck of the draw of playing against someone that's really bad or really good. So if you play against someone that's really good, you're going to get less points. But if you play against someone that's really bad, you're going to get more points. So these 2 players could win exactly the same amount of games, but the one that played against the worst players ended up winning the competition because they got more achievements and they got more points that way. That's not fair, because that's all not based off skill. That's not all based off anything. It's just based off luck of the draw at the end of the day, which doesn't feel right. And that's going to bite them on the butts if they don't get rid of that rule soon, because it's already causing a few murmurings and wanting people not to play the game. And it's a good game, just it's a weird to have this achievement thing, and I get the whole Halo aspect of it. But if the goal of it is to put people off playing the game, then they're achieving that goal. But I don't think that's the intention. Because you imagine like playing Kings of War and just going, hey, in order to win this game, you need to here's a list of achievements you need to achieve, and whoever gets the most of them will actually win the game, regardless of who wins the objective. I mean, who would enjoy that? Alright, so ready? Sorry, I just went on a rant there. But again, could be completely wrong. Could be just me just making a mountain out of a molehill. But ultimately, it's a real concern I think some people have. Because it's a good game, like, don't get me wrong, it's a good game. But if people are put off by that, they're not going to play it, and they're not going to try it out. It's odd, but I've not seen the tournament rules. See if I've got a copy. No, that's an old one. I don't know where. I must have put a copy somewhere. I probably stored it away somewhere. But then some people have shit the bed over command dice. That's sensitive. Yeah, I know. I'm not sure how I feel about command dice. The one thing I did like about King's War is that they didn't have command dice, but I don't play the game as much as other people. I think what didn't help was the way that Mantic communicated about the command dice. Going. I think they didn't communicate that very well. And I watched the live stream and I remember seeing Ronnie on there and he kind of made fun of people that were a bit upset about the command dice. And that's not a good, at least it's not a good mentality going into 4th edition, is the fact of like, they're like, well, if you don't like it, then you know, you're the problem. And it's like, dude, shit, you don't have a massive customer base. It may rope in the right people and they may ultimately be successful financially, but if that's how their attitude with feedback, it's like, what? I don't know. Doesn't feel right to me, that's all. Oh, I already uploaded them. What am I doing, Dave? So it looks like I already uploaded it. Oh, maybe I haven't uploaded. I was just looking at the old. Ah, I got twisted. Oh no, they're right there. Those pages there. There we go. Got all the pages now. At least I tied it all up. So if anyone wants to look at those pages, they can. See, what I want to do is also start noting down some of these people that are noted in the articles too. So I'll probably put that person. All right. Well, I think I've achieved what I wanted to do today. I've done the test stream and it went fine. This was a lot of fun. I might do this as a monthly thing, as once a month, come on here and stream me editing the wiki and just talking about lore and stuff. So, and just gas bagging. So hopefully you enjoyed it. Hopefully you enjoyed listening to my rambling there, Jerry. And I look forward to hearing your rambling on monthlies. Thanks, Mathis. Thanks, Adrian. And thanks to anyone else out there that has contributed and just listened to anything to the stream. I really do appreciate it. It's been a lot of fun. It was a good tester. And we are expecting to do a little bit more YouTube only stuff. I know Mark Z is actually planning some videos, even some unboxings as well. And it's good to actually see my face for once instead of just hearing me, because I remember I'm on the countercharge Lore Masters library, and it's a video one, so everyone has their video on when we actually record it. And I remember a lot of the time the authors are surprised of what I look like, because apparently my voice in what I talk about doesn't match my face. Remember Mike Rossi getting very fascinated by what I look like. It's quite funny, and hopefully we can get a lot more people from the MUP universe to make videos and be on stream and stuff. So anyway, thanks everyone. It was really good to see all you. And for next time, just stay attuned to the Discord of seeing when it's gonna happen again. So all right, everyone. Till next time. Kia ora.